What's up, guys? January just ended and Titanfall 2 has been out now for just over 3 months. It has been by far my favorite game and will probably continue to maintain my focus in the following months, even with the handful of blockbuster games coming out in February and March. Over the past 3 months, I've met a tremendous amount of amazing people, either through my live streams over on Twitch or for my comment section here on YouTube, all thanks to this game. I've had a blast being a part of the growing community, even though some people feel like I've attacked them with my opinions on some things in the game. Sissies. Anyway, one of the things I really enjoyed doing was my mini recap series that I was doing every generation or so. Since there's no insight into when the level cap from Generation 10.50 is going to be lifted, I wanted to start a similar series that I would do at the end of every month. Kind of like a State of the Game series with a monthly recap focus. We didn't have a whole lot of new content in the month of January, and I think some of that had to do with the holidays and people at Respawn spending time with their family or just plain taking time off to drink beer and watch paint dry. Doesn't matter really. While we look into gaming as a hobby or something we enjoy doing at all times, to them it's a job, and I'm sure there are things that make going to work just that, going to work. And everyone deserves time away from work. But now that they're back, I expect double the effort and overtime for the month of February. Just kidding. Kinda. One of the things they said early on was that they were planning on doing at least 2 updates a month, whether it's content drops, server-side tweaks or rebalancing, cosmetic items added to the in-game store, and or just news updates. So far, they have been staying true to their word, and then some. So what all has happened from launch until now with the game? Quite a bit, actually, for those of you who haven't been paying attention or are just recently joining the community. The game launched on October 28th, and then a month later, on November 30th, the Angel City's Most Wanted DLC dropped. This update brought the Angel City map, Wingman Elite Pistol, the Inner Pieces Assassination, new Titan kits, game balancing, in-game stats, a fact page, and the in-game store with all the cosmetic purchasable items like the Epic Prime Titans. Right after that, Respawn and EA opened up the game's multiplayer for a free multiplayer trial weekend to allow people who didn't have the game a chance to come and see why Titanfall 2 is full of jaw-dropping fun. They then held the first ever double XP weekend 7 days later, which I was bitter about since the double XP didn't apply to me. I guess it is my fault for quote-unquote no-lifing the game and reaching max level within weeks of release. I'm crying right now, if you didn't notice. Anyway, 2 weeks later, they held another double XP event for those people that didn't grind out max rank tier. After that double XP event, the holidays hit, and we didn't see or hear anything from Respawn until January 13th when they dropped a couple of gifts showing 2 new maps for a new game mode called Live Fire and a new matchmaking interface. They also mentioned a new Coliseum map, another pilot execution, new commander intros for each faction. 10 days after that, on the 23rd, the second round of rebalancing was introduced in a server-based patch that added some buffs and nerfs and a handful of bug fixes. A few days after that, they posted another news article reflecting their roadmap of content drops for the next couple of months. Basically, the new mode Live Fire is coming in February, and a new map, or should I say a classic reskinned map, is coming in March, along with new in-game store cosmetic items, a new weapon, and another round of rebalancing. And that brings us to where we are now. Alright, let's get into the pros and cons thus far. Just a small disclaimer first. The views and opinions, heavy emphasis on the word opinion, are not in accordance to Respawn. They are purely my own, and some of you may agree and some of you may not. So on that note, let's start with some pros first. Overall, the game has been, and even after some rebalancing, still remains super balanced and fun. There really hasn't been a meta, per se. Some may argue the Volt was a meta, but it wasn't. It is super popular, and maybe not now, but it was super popular on PC due to its accurate hipfire. But it's never been OP, even before its 2 unneeded nerfs. Another over-exaggerated meta I hear about is all everyone does is camp on rooftops with AWOLs and hemlocks. Not everyone does that. Yes, there's usually 1 or 2 guys in a match doing that, but they never end the match in the top 3, and I don't see it every match. It's just super annoying, so it stands out more than the guy using Cloak, which stands out like a sore thumb. Oh, not another Cloak rant. Quick new topic. Whenever anything has actually been overpowered, there has been a quick fix implemented by Respawn. For example, when the game launched, Map Hack and Pulse Blade basically gave a constant full X-ray vision. Everyone used it, and everyone would die the moment they turned around a corner because everyone could see everybody through walls. They quickly, within hours, patched it to what it is now, and it's used by maybe 1 or 2 people per match. Another issue that was noticeable at the beginning was Tone and Legion feeling unstoppable on the field. They released some changes to both early on, and since then they now feel a little more in line with other Titans. Going back to gun metas, I've gotten all guns to Gen 2 or higher, and actually most are Gen 4.9 since I've been on a hunt to unlock all the banners in the game. And I'm by no means a god at the game, but I've been super successful with just about every gun. There's even more proof that the game is super balanced in gunplay because I meet people every day that love and swear by all different guns. I know people that would tattoo the R97 on their arm, and I hate that gun, but it's by far not garbage by any means. I also love the L-Star, and it was always fun after it was after it was rated F tier to have people come into my chat and tell me that it's garbage just to have me laugh at them and then go on a killing spree with it. Same thing goes with the pilot abilities. There's definitely a successful play style for each ability. I've had a blast over the past few months egotistically arguing with everyone about abilities. We all tend to cling to our preferred abilities and defend them to the bitter end. In a nutshell, if there were no more buffs or nerfs to the game, I wouldn't mind. Everything seems to have its place and is viable if used properly. Now, there was one main change I and a good chunk of you would like to see with a specific gun. And on that note, let's move on to the cons of the game thus far. Let's talk about the most frustrating, noob-friendly, scummy douchebag gun in the game, the Hemlock. Now, if I've offended some of you, well, good. That means you're a Hemlock user and I don't particularly like you. When a gun allows you to turn on someone that clearly has the drop on you, and you are able to panic burst, one trigger pull someone in their big toe and win the gunfight, it's cheap as hell and you all know it. Many times I jump someone and they turn and drop me. I instantly usually say something like, "Good shit, bro," and then I see in the kill feed it was a Hemlock. I quickly retract my compliment and replace it with, "Never mind, Hemlock, no skill." I really don't have a problem or see the Hemlock being overpowered outside of that one issue of it being capable of the one burst kill. Also, to be fair, for all of us that hate the Hemlock and despise its Call of Duty users, it's not a guaranteed one burst kill. It misses quite a bit, and usually people fire multiple shots to kill you with it, just like every other gun. So yes, it's annoying, but it's not a game changer by any means. In the end, however, it should never be a one burst kill. In the first Titanfall, it wasn't a one burst unless you attached the item that turned it into a 5-bullet burst instead of 3, and that allowed it to one-shot people, but it also added significant recoil. Respawn has acknowledged the outcry from the community regarding this gun and has claimed that it will have a rebalance very soon along with the Devotion. I personally don't think the Devotion needs a nerf, but if it gets one, whatever, I'll still love it. The idea of having to amp it up in order to make it deadly is cool. Again, I think people just feel like they should be able to run at a fully amped up Devotion to win the gunfight. Silly rabbits, tricks for kids. Okay, moving on. There really isn't a whole lot of cons in regards to Titans or guns or gameplay. Now, there is something that maybe some of you non-completionists have missed, but the weapon camos that require assists have a severely unrealistic requirement. 2,500 assists for the final camo. Are you serious, mate? What? I have been discussing things like this with a subscriber of mine, Dubstep Beastly, and he suggested the other day in a comment that it should be reduced to 150 assists. The reason or example he gave was that while he was leveling Ion, it required 150 assists, and all the camos in different categories unlocked at relatively the same rate. I agree, something around 150 seems reasonable, especially since the time to kill in this game is so fast. It's hard to get assists. Another con that he and I and others have discussed is the lack of competitive gameplay. There are no leaderboards, there are no ranked playlists, there isn't a ranked chip that existed in the first Titanfall. Without this option, it is extremely hard to retain a player base, especially when content drops are far and few. There needs to be something put into place that drives the player to keep coming back. As fun and amazing as the game is, it can get stale at times. There's really just a couple more negative things I can think of currently, and those have to do with the auto-mantling system. I don't know how many times I've died from trying to jump roof to roof or jump out of a window just to get sucked onto a friendly Titan. Also, jumping towards a ledge where an enemy is planted and just as I'm about to shoot, I go into an auto-mantle. I don't know why this isn't a button press. In Halo 5, you have to hold down the jump button in order to mantle. This allows you to quickly abort a mantle if you know it will result in a death. Oh, another thing some people hate that is by no means broken or overpowered and that is the AWOL. It can easily be countered numerous ways: phase shift, gravity star, electric smoke, etc. Again, I think people just think that they should be able to run at things and not die. So what more could Respawn do in the future to help grow and maintain its community? Well, for starters, I feel they need to step up their game on the content drops. There's no reason why they can't add stuff to the in-game store on a monthly basis. Also, they need maps, more maps. Not just simple remakes of classic maps. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome to see the classics make a return, but honestly, it feels kinda lame to see one map in December and one more in March. I don't work for a game developing studio, but it seems like a reskinned map shouldn't be too hard to replicate. I love the idea of bringing classics back, but maybe a classic map more frequently, like every month, and then on top of that, bring out a map pack every 2 to 3 months like every other shooter has been doing for years. Another thing they could do is bring back the daily and weekly challenges. I also wouldn't mind them bringing back the ranked chip as well. Even if they are working on bringing a ranked playlist, they could technically do both. One would be a team-based ranking system and the other would be the individual ranking system. I feel they need new fresh content more frequently, especially since we are headed into the early year new release season and there are a ton of games coming out. As time goes on, more and more of my buddies are slowly getting bored and moving on to other games. And I feel and know that more content would bring people back more frequently. Let's say they don't bring any type of in-game competitive content. Another thing they could do that would be fun is to hold a small tournament here and there. I'm not saying throw tons of money at it like NLG or ESL, but instead of community members hosting their own independent tournaments, Respawn could host their own. It would get more attention and would help get more people into the community. Lastly, here are some of my predictions for new content. I'll put money down on at least 3 new Titans this year: a light, medium, and heavy Titan. Hell, they might even be called Ogre, Strider, and Atlas from the first Titanfall. And with these Titans will come the arc cannon, chain gun, and quad rocket loadouts. They already have the chain gun and quad rocket coded into the campaign, for Pete's sake. I also expect to see the Frontier Defense game mode making a comeback. For those of you who didn't play the first Titanfall, this was a mode they added a few months after release that was basically a co-op wave-based mode. There has also been quite the demand for customization of pilots themselves, especially after Prime Titans were announced. So I see either Prime pilots or pilot customization making an appearance as well. Also, Titan on Titan rodeo action has been confirmed. Just kidding. But can you imagine going around a corner to see a Ronin sitting on top of Legion's shoulders? Epic. Also, we should totally be able to hack Reapers the same as we can hack Spectres. Dance, puppets, dance. Anyway, I've had so much fun playing this game over the past few months, and I'm super excited for the new content, or even lack thereof. Regardless, the game is amazing and I love playing it, meeting people from the community, offending Cloak and Hemlock users, making videos for you guys, chatting in the comment sections, just everything that involves this game. I want to thank FS Fizz for being such a good sport the other day. However, I feel he's been abused so much that he refuses to come say hi anymore. I also want to thank Onyx51 for introducing me to some of the legacy competitive players. It's always nice to chat and play with him since he and his crew have been active in the competitive Titanfall community since the launch of the first game. One last shout out goes to Iniquity Games. He is blowing up both on YouTube and Twitch, and for good reason. The dude is super talented. He puts together phenomenal instructional videos and is a pretty decent player as well, but not as good as yours truly. Cough, cough. Well, this concludes this state of the game. I plan on doing something like this every month. I may change the format a little bit next time, not sure yet. Feel free to leave your thoughts, concerns, opinions, agreements, disagreements, criticisms, whatever in the comments below. For those of you new to my channel, I'm heavily active in the comment section, so type away. Also, I stream daily over on Twitch at twitch.tv/SlyGumbi from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'd love to play and or chit-chat with you, so swing on by. And on that note, I'm out. I'll catch you all in the next one. Poker. Why the fiddlesticks do you not have this game yet?